What's going on YouTube? It's Eli with Common Sense, and I hope you have had a fantastic week. This weekend I went down to Los Angeles with a couple of my buddies and we had a lot of fun. We checked a bunch of perfume places and I even stopped by a Zara. So as you guys know, I've done some Zara fragrance hauls before. I'm trying to cool it a little bit with my spending, and I'm really trying to only pick out the best of the best and really ramp up my recommendations in 2024 because there's a lot of good stuff out there, but I really want to recommend the great stuff. This one I believe is no exception to that, and I think it's probably one of my favorite Zara fragrances of all time. Which one am I talking about? You probably know already because of the title. Sit back, grab yourself a cup of coffee, and let's get started. Thank you so much for tuning in. If this is your first time watching, I'd just like to give you a warm welcome and thanks for checking out the channel. So I have quite the fragrance collection of Zara fragrances. Previously, I've reviewed Virtuous Oud, Sand Desert at Sunset, and Tender Amber. I think these three are probably some of the greatest ones that you can pick up, but this one I think takes first place. This is upside down. What the hell? There we go. Today we're going to be looking at Zara's Spell Caramel. So this one isn't insanely new. I think it is maybe a season or so old, but this is still an amazing fragrance and I do want to talk about it. So I believe this one usually retails, at least online, for about $36, but I found this one for $29. So just under that $30 mark. So $30 for 100 ml eau de parfum. Let's see if it's any good. Spoiler alert, it is. Generally speaking with Zara, the ones that are boxed up like this that have the little black strip and the little black shadow box packaging, these are typically the ones that are going to be a lot better for your money. I've covered some of the cheaper ones like the Soul Summer and some of the other cheaper ones, but those really aren't the greatest, especially at the $20 mark. They don't last as long. Maybe they're 5-hour fragrance at most, but with these ones, they are really worth it. So this definitely follows the same style as some of the other fragrance bottles. It's that nice, clean and crisp glass bottle with a white label on the front, and you don't have a magnetic cap. It's just a plastic one, but it still feels really snug and you can definitely pick it up by the cap, I think. Yes. That was kind of dangerous. I was holding that right over my foot. Could have ended my foot. Zara's Spell Caramel is created by Jordi Fernandez, and he is responsible for creating Mont Blanc Explorer and the Versace Atelier line. So that's going to be their more expensive private label fragrances. So they're real tall black ones, but they look really cool. And I've heard that those are also some hidden gems, but this is made by the same dude. And so it's extremely cool to see Zara teaming up with these really nice master perfumers to create basically fragrances that are going to stand the test of time. All right, let's test this atomizer. Oh man, this stuff is addictive. Whew. Spell Caramel definitely opens up with a really nice, refreshing blood orange. So it's going to be very citrusy and it does have that kind of orange-like quality, but it does smell a little bit darker and a little bit more tart. So it's not going to be a super sweet orange. And I think it balances really nicely with some of the more syrupy gourmands later on in the dry down. Got a blast of beautiful ginger in here that makes it smell a little bit spicy. And there's also quite a bit of cardamom in here. So it's going to smell very romantic, very warm and inviting. So I think as you wear this, people are going to be drawn into you and they're going to want to get a hug. There's also a beautiful sweet Osmanthus in here, which is a really interesting note. Parfums de Marly uses that note a lot in their fragrances, and I just love it when fragrances use that note in there and that accord, because it can smell very fruity. It can smell a little bit jasmine-like, so floral, and it also gives off a little bit of a peach vibe. So it tends to lean a little bit feminine if you use it with certain notes, but I think here it's very unisex, maybe a little bit feminine leaning, but I absolutely love this one and I would definitely wear this on a daily basis. I think the ginger and the cardamom definitely tie this down and give it a little bit more of a base to it, so I think guys can definitely pull this off, but there's something a little bit mature about this one and it just kind of reminds me of somebody who you want to be around. So the original Parfums de Marly Habdan definitely has that Osmanthus, and they also have a sort of caramel accord that's created, but I think this one is done because they use the vanilla and the Osmanthus, so that syrupy vanilla mixed with that creamy floral, and I think the licorice in here too definitely creates that kind of fake caramel accord, but it definitely smells pleasant, and it's a little bit salted too. So there is no official ambergris note listed in this like the Habdan, but I think it does have a salted caramel apple accord here, and it just smells absolutely intense and amazing. Yeah, just like a nice fall medley of caramel and fruits. It just smells absolutely incredible, almost like a dried fruit. As it sits on your skin and as it dries down a little bit, it gets a little bit sweeter and you get a little bit more of that candied caramel accord, and it just comes off very sweet and very inviting. So I think the dry down is a little bit similar to Tom Ford's Noir Extreme. That one is absolutely fantastic, and I don't have the bottle. It's somewhere. Probably took it with me in my suitcase. But that one is very unisex, and it can tend to lean a little bit feminine, and I think this kind of follows in that footsteps. It's dark, it's fruity, but it definitely has a little bit of a mature women's fragrance vibe to it. But again, it's got some depth to it, and especially the Divana, it adds a little bit of green depth, and it comes off a little bit like an apricot. And Divana is also an aphrodisiac, so it's going to be very inviting, very elusive, and it's going to draw people in. It's not listed in here, but I also feel like I get a little bit of a rose in here, so it's a little bit smoky, but it's definitely got that jammy, syrupy, sweet caramel gourmand accords in here that are just fantastic. So Divana can also come off a little bit apricot-like, so you have a Divana apricot, and you also have that Osmanthus that's a little bit peachy, so peach and apricot with like apple and caramel, it just smells heavenly, all the while just being extremely inviting, a little bit nutty, and a little bit smoky. So this is absolutely what I want in a fragrance, and this is totally my taste and my style. Absolutely breathtaking stuff here. So if you are not a fan of licorice, I don't think you have to worry about it because it's just a little hint of it. It's supporting and it helps create that caramel accord. So it's definitely supportive, but it's not overly in your face and it doesn't steal the show. So this stuff you could definitely go crazy with the sprays because it's cheap enough at about $30, $35, and it leaves a gorgeous scent trail, a bubble, a sillage around you, and everybody is going to be smelling this amazing juice. I sprayed myself with this about 8 times yesterday, and for the first 4 hours or so, it was super strong, and I sprayed it on my clothes. I did a couple behind the neck, on my hair, and on my back. My neck, my back, my neck. Oh god. I sprayed some behind the ears, the neck, and on my clothes, so I definitely got a nice saturation, and it lasts me at least 8 to 9 hours. So that's about what I got with this one. So it lasted me throughout the day, and I kept getting these whiffs all throughout the day on my wrists, and it just kept coming up, and I was thinking, man, this stuff really is going strong. I didn't find myself getting sick of it, so sometimes if it's super syrupy, super sweet, you can get a little bit tired of it. It can give you nasal fatigue, especially if it's just bombarding your nose or sprayed under your nose. You know, it can come up and give you that headache, but I did not get that with this. Instead, I was left with a beautiful scent cloud all day, and I think this is one of the best Zara fragrances that you can pick up. Again, anybody can wear this. I think women are going to absolutely love this one, so if you want to attract other women, I think you could definitely wear this. And if you're guys, if you wear this and you don't mind smelling a little bit fruity, a little bit smoky, you know, something that would be familiar to women, I think this would definitely be up your alley. So definitely give that some thought, and if you're at a Zara store and get to smell this in person, try it out. I mean, they have testers all over, and you know, even if you want to blind buy it for $30, I don't think you're going to be disappointed because you're going to get a smell that smells very similar to Parfums habdan, maybe a little bit of that Tom Ford Noir Extreme, and maybe something like Azaro The Most Wanted. So if you like that dark syrupy sweetness with a little bit of that nutty fruitiness, I think you're going to like this one. I think this is the perfect after work fragrance. So if you want to go get drinks with friends, if you want to go with family or friends and just get some dinner and hang out, I think this is perfect, especially in the winter and the fall because it's going to push off like crazy. I don't know if I'd wear this one in the summer. Maybe the spring you can pull it off because it's just very syrupy, it's very sweet, but I think, you know, in the colder weather, this is your friend. One of the best Zaras ever to be made, and that one is Spell Caramel. So that does it. If you have smelled this one, or if you know of any Zara fragrances that blow this one out of the water, or just any fragrances in general that you love by Zara, let me know in the comments and I'd love to discuss them. Thank you so much for watching. If this was your first time, please consider subscribing, and if you're a regular, I love you guys, and I just keep doing this for you guys. My name's Eli with Common Sense, and until the next time, bye-bye.